Villa 1, City 0. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. The run of the unbeaten run has come to an end. The run of Haaland goals has come to an end. In a game that maybe we could have seen coming, if we're being honest with you. I'm going to try not to lose my head over this, because I'm going to try and look at what we where we are, and if that result, there's definitely things we could have done better, by the way, before I get to it too much. Absolutely. But if we're capable of winning that game today, and that's the question, with the current squad, the fitness and everything, were we capable of winning that game? Yes. But regularly? Probably not. Games like this make me realise that, and I think the second half, by the way, City absolutely tried to answer the questions posed by Villa, but they just don't have the solutions. I just don't think we're quite there, unfortunately. So that was a really disappointing performance. Of course, just a solitary goal in the first half. Matty Cash, really nice goal. I saw a lot of people trying to pull that goal to pieces. Maybe people started to think Diaz and Haaland could have done more with blocking it. I don't think they did much wrong, if I'm being honest. I think we were nitpicking there. It was a really nice finish. And yeah, and maybe there's something in there. Maybe it shouldn't have been some infringement before that led to Villa having the chance, but there was very little in it. Ultimately, it's just a really good goal. I don't have too many complaints around the goal defensively or whatever. It's just frustrating. But when I talk about, you know, the game overall, and I look at City, like, I mean, if we'd gotten a draw, you know, I don't think it would have been unfair. We didn't deserve a draw, if that makes sense. But if a draw had happened, I don't think it would have been unfair, because we had a couple of big chances to their one big chance. We had a few speculative efforts, but I don't think it's unfair for us to lose either, because you have to make your own luck to an extent, you know. Like, I don't think 1-1 would have been undeserved, but I don't think 1-0 is undeserved for Aston Villa at the same time either. They got their goal, then they defended really well and forced us on the scraps. So look, it's just essentially just not really good enough today. Like, if I look at, I'll go through the whole team. I'm going to try and break this. There's a lot to talk about here. There's so many bigger pictures. You have to sort of bear with me, because my mind's going to get distracted by all the comments and so on. And I need to cover the game, and then I need to break down why. And there's just so much context to talk about. So here was the lineup anyway. Reinders was playing sort of as a holding midfielder. Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden there. And Nunes as a right back. Stone was in defence with Diaz and Guardiola. Savinho, Bob and Haaland. I presume the logic here was that obviously they wanted to stretch the pitch with Savinho. Knowing Guardiola wouldn't overlap as much, really. I think Savinho, you wanted him to stretch the pitch and get crosses in. I presume the logic was Stones playing. Stones drifted to midfield a fair bit. So the idea with Stones playing was that I guess he's going to step into midfield with Reinders to give Reinders a bit of support. Bernardo and Foden were trying to run off Haaland, which was interesting. But knowing that Stones was good to midfield, you saw what Guardiola obviously took in a little bit and play a bit more centrally. I understand that. I don't think it necessarily worked, but I understand the logic behind it. And then, of course, you had Oscar Bob on the right, who Pep has talked an awful lot about Oscar Bob's possession, his work rate out of it being really useful. So I think he decided to go for that. I don't think a lot of it worked, unfortunately. I think the first half, first 15 minutes pretty decent. After that, we struggled to get any form of grip on the game. It became basketball. The physicality of Aston Villa with, you know, Rodgers and Kamara, Onana was fantastic, by the way. Buendia, McGinn, they just ran through us. You know, and once they found the physicality, City lost their nerve a little bit. And this is where maybe the lack of quality started to show, if I'm being honest. The amount of times I'd see someone just give the ball away, it was so frustrating. Savinho, one run down the left and pass it inside to clear past Foden, but straight to a Villa player. Nunes did the same a few times. I saw all of them do it. Guardiola, they all did it. They all did it a few times where it was just sloppy stuff, and it was, you know, physically unimposing and intellectually dumb at times, you know, which is not really a good combination. The second half, I do actually think City were better. How was that lack of quality? Well, I'll get onto it in a minute, mate. I think there is a lack of quality. I know what, because I don't think some of these players are as good as we used to. Anyway, second half, I'll get onto that in a minute. My theory around. In the second half, I thought City were better at keeping the ball. We definitely kept the ball an awful lot better. I mean, they would have sat back a little bit deeper to invite us onto it. Yeah, I mean, 45% possession in the first half to 61% in the second half. And we kept the ball really much better that time, but we couldn't really force anything. The frustrating thing for me was when we got into some positions that were actually semi-decent, we took the wrong pass. or we took an extra touch, or someone's touch let them down, and it was always like, where's the precision? Where's the quality? It felt like people didn't really know what to do other than get the ball out wide and hope for the best, and we've seen that a lot from Manchester City over the years, and this is where I go back to lack of quality. I don't think in the second half there was a lack of effort. I really don't. I think everyone sort of made their best attempts to try and get City back into it. Thought the substitutions were the right one. The two Nikos, Doku, Mamu, Shirky eventually all on the pitch. But I think the issue we had was a lack of real, just quality. And what I mean by that is not that these players aren't good, but I just don't think they're world class. I think we've only really got one or two world class players right now. And when I talk about quality, like, for example, the solution to Aston Villa is Aston Villa's physicality is you need to keep the ball better, because we can't really match them physically because they're better than us. And in 3 years ago, we would have kept the ball better, but then we would have had world-class quality to do something when we got the ball. You'd have De Bruyne whipping across into Haaland, or you'd have Rodri, pinging a diagonal to the back post to Mahrez, who would have put it in the bottom corner because he would have scored because he's Riyad Mahrez. Or you had a Gundogan drifting off Erling Haaland at 30 years old and putting it in the bottom corner. You've had a Pete Bernardo Silva playing much better. All these variables, and this is what I mean about world-class quality. We don't really have that now. Everyone argues over the wingers. Loads of people are saying Reinders isn't quite there yet. Shirky's not barely played a minute of football. We just don't have that. I think these players are really nice footballers, but are they peak De Bruyne? Are they peak Mahrez? Are they peak Gundogan? Are they peak? No, they're just not. So the end result is you can keep the ball a little bit better, but Aston Villa just really organised, and you haven't got Kevin De Bruyne who's going to ping it in from 20 yards. You haven't got someone with the quality of Rodri to ping it to the back post to Mahrez. Or you've got Oscar Bob, Savinho, Doku, and much as I think there's talent in all these players, they're not even fucking close to Mahrez. They can't lay a finger on them, and that's just a fact. You said, Brillo said, you disagree with you, Stephen. We had 0 duel winners. Mate, we didn't. The issue in the second half was absolutely not about winning duels. We won the duels in the second half, mate. We had the 61% of the ball. We had the ball in front of in front of the defence. We got control of it. But then we didn't do anything with it. So I don't see how the issue in the second half was not winning the ball. We absolutely did win the ball, mate. We had we were fine in the second half, mate. We had we kept the ball nicely, and as you can see by the momentum of the game there, City kept the ball. We were fine at that, but ultimately we couldn't do anything with it. So that to me, and I'm not even saying the players are bad or stay bad. I'm just saying we are very clearly right now a team that is just good. We're good. We're a good side. We're a Champions League challenging side. I don't know how much better we'll get this season. If you get Nico Gonzalez in the team, Rodri can find some form, Kusuk comes back, blah blah blah, a winger finds form, you start to see that maybe we could go a bit further. But right now I think we're just a pretty average team. We're not an average team, we're obviously a good team, but I look at the rest of the Premier League, and lad I was arguing with on Twitter the other day, he was saying, he laughed at me saying Arsenal are better than us or much further along in the project. They are. Arsenal, I don't know if Arsenal win the league, but they're miles ahead of us in terms of the project, in inverted commas. By that I mean building towards the style that they want, with depth in position for the styles that they want. They are there, Arsenal. They are there. They've got a lot of quality. Defensively so solid. They don't concede. And they've got Eze, and Gyökeres is at least a focal point. And they've got Zubamendi, who's so much better. And Marino is a good player as well. And they've just got a lot of quality. So I'm not even... And then, look, we might be better than the rest of them. But as I know, I think the rest of them everyone else is a bit of a shambles. I mean... Liverpool have fallen to pieces a little bit. I think I think we'll probably finish second. That's what I've got us down for that. I think we will get better as time goes on. But I think this is one of those a step too far. And I said in the preview that this was a litmus test for us. And I'm not angry about any of this, because I just don't think... I think there's ways we could have won that. But I think if you play that game 10 times, it's probably 5-5. Or, I don't think we're better than Villa. I think we're probably quite a similar level to Villa. At home, they'll beat us. At our ground, we might beat them. But I don't think we're better. Villa are a Champions League quality level. But we might be by the end of the season. But right now, with the current players available, I don't think we're better than Villa. So I can't say I'm surprised. I think, as I said, if City had scored today, it would 1-1 would have been probably fair, because we did have the chances. But that's all we're capable of. So, and it goes back to, well, how angry do you want to be all this, No, look, Kevin. With all due respect, mate, I've got I don't lose sleep over football, pal. I love Man City, and I've been watching for 35 years of my life. But there's vastly more important things for me. I'd be angry if I felt like we massively underachieved, but I don't think we did. I think that's just as good as we are. I don't think we. I think we tried. The players tried, but I'm not even giving up either. That's the thing, Miles. I just think Villa. This is our level. This is our level. For now, we might get better, sure, but right now, this is who we are. Like, we can't turn up and romp Villa, who are in cracking form, by the way, as well. So it's one of those things where, I could be furious. I'm furious when it's like we're just utter dog shit and no one tries, but I don't see, and I think Guardiola will see the same. He'll obviously be frustrated by the lack of energy in the first half, but I think in the second half he'll appreciate the players tried what he told them to do but weren't probably good enough to be there, Look, going on to the actual lineup, I'm not going to sit here and argue that the lineup was good. I do think that the hand was forced a little bit. I think there were question marks around Nico Gonzalez, otherwise surely he would have started this. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. I presume, maybe, I don't know, maybe Nico Gonzalez is absolutely fine, but I presume they would have said, I know they lost to Go Ahead Eagles, mate, but before that they won, 3 in a row against really good teams in the Premier League, so a random fixture, doesn't change the fact that Villa are clearly a good side. Villa are clearly a very good side. So I won't take this idea that there's some weak side. What I was going to say, but surely Nico Gonzalez, I'm going to guess he just didn't train. I'm going to guess he hasn't trained, and he said, I'm all right to be on the bench, and they put him on the bench if they need him, and they needed him. I presume it's that, because he's been cracking. Like, why would they not start him otherwise? But anyway, the midfield, Reinders just does not work there at all, and I understand the logic behind it. I actually understand the logic behind the ideas, it just didn't work, and I think, unfortunately, Foden couldn't put anything together today. We get on to the wingers question now. So I'm going to be very honest with you. I think there's a humility in admitting indecisiveness, admitting flaws where you think you made a mistake or whatever. So I do worry about Oscar Bob. I've been watching Oscar Bob for several years, and I worry that Oscar Bob is not as sharp as he was a year ago. I tweeted that, and someone replied to me very smartly, and I feel like I feel the urge to find the reply to me, because it's a good point, which I hadn't really thought about because I'm in my tired brain. Tony there said, tactically, we're hanging him out to dry. He's a small places player, but we're expecting him to beat 2 men from a standing start out wide with no overlapping run. If we need to sustain attacks, typo, but he meant we need to sustain attacks for him to be useful, not play end to end. That's a really good point about Oscar Bob. Now, I know people will turn around and go, he's just shit. He's not a one-on-one overlapping running winger. He isn't. This is a really, really good point, and that one that I haven't been paying attention to. And I replied saying, you know what, mate, that reminds me, I've been watching Oscar Bob for many years, and when he's been amazing at City's youth level, it's when we pen teams in, and we pen teamed him, and he has link-up plays with people around him, and he goes past, and he does nice little movements, and he darts past people, and it's all tight in the area, and that's when Oscar Bob comes alive, when it's tight and nitty. But if you give Oscar Bob the ball, 30 yards from goal and say beat 2 defenders, it's just not really his game. That's a very good point, because I've not seen him do that a lot. In tight spaces in the area where he can jink this way and that way, he's really good. So that ultimately comes down to Guardiola. Get the ball out to him and get people around him. He's not going to be very useful because it's not his game. That's a very good point, and I think that's actually true, because I think of everything that Oscar Bob's ever done good, and you could say he's limited as a result, or maybe he's just playing in the wrong side, So, if this was City of 3 years ago, he'd be way more effective. And I think that's a very good point. I think it's a good point to raise, because he would be, because at that point you'd have people overlapping him. You'd have Gundogan coming close, and Bernardo Silva is very best, and De Bruyne, and there'd be a genuine cohesion around him. Right now it's a little bit. It's a bit all over the place. And then you get to Savinho, who just looks like he's just struggling. I think I've always maintained I think there's talent there, but I absolutely understand the frustration with the £75 million. I get it. That's the problem. Is once you turn down 75 million quid, you're going to have that follow you around absolutely everywhere. And at some point, it comes a lot easier to turn it down if you've got other players performing. But look, even Doku, when he comes on right now, I don't know what's happened, by the way. Doku's not going central anymore. Like, he's not getting any support where he used to. So a lot of things seem to have changed. And I guess the frustration is we got 3 wingers there who are the main ones, and none of them are really nailed. Like, Doku had a really good spell, but his spell is sort of slowed down a little bit, if we're being honest. But I do wonder if we've changed how we play a bit. He's not drifting inside as much central as he was do. I don't know. Maybe it is a purple patch. Maybe it's slowed down a bit. But either way, the fact that we're having this conversation in the first place shows that there's doubt. And I don't want there to be doubt. I want someone to absolutely grab a fucking shirt. And no one's grabbing a shirt. No one's grabbing it and going, it's mine. Give it me. There's just question marks. And Reinders he was okay, but Reinders is still adapting. He's all right, he's not. And then you've got Shirky came on, didn't really do anything, unfortunately, but he needs time. Marmouche, he was lucky not to get an assist there, Marmouche, unfortunate. Nice cross. And when you come back round it, come back full point to the title of the video. I said, but no solutions on the thumbnail. No, we haven't got the solutions currently because I just don't think we have a lot of questions. There's too many questions about our side, so which goes back to where I am at. Like, this is where I'm at, where I'm not going to lose no sleep over it because I don't think we're actually that good. I think we're actually a pretty good side again. I truly think we are. We played worse than that and won this season, in my personal opinion. I actually think we did some all right things in the second half against a good Villa side, and Villa are in cracking form in the Premier League. We did some all right things. You don't have to agree, but we did. But we are not absolutely at our very best, and we're just not we're lesser overall than we used to be. And I don't think it's a Pepper's Peak thing. I actually think the quality is just not there. If you give Guardiola a young Gundogan, a young De Bruyne, and a young Mahrez or Sterling or Sane, we're winning the fucking lot, lads. I think Guardiola's been given players that aren't actually as good as the players that he used to have previously. I actually think Pep, he made a mistake saying maybe, but I understand the ideas behind his decisions. I think we got better than we have a year ago. We are getting better. It's just, that's where we're at. That's where we're at right now. And you don't have to like it or accept it. You can shout into the void if you want to. But I think this is as good as we are. This is as good as we are. Sometimes one of those, we might equalise in this game. We might even scrape a win. But I think if you play this game 10 times, we don't win it more than 5. We don't. I don't think we're better than Villa right now. And Villa, like ourselves, are going to be a side that are challenging for the Champions League. Until things potentially change. Once again, if you get Kusanov in the back, you adapt to the new signings with Shirky and Aït-Nouri. Rodri can get on the pitch. Nico Gonzalez continues his improvement. Who knows where he could be? And when I say I don't think we're that good right now, I mean literally right now, in this moment, at this pace in time. I don't know how good we'll be in 3 months from now. We might be better. Players adapt more and the ideas kick in. But essentially, this is the bump on the road after a good couple of months. This is the bump on the road, and yeah, and I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. But this is the reality. And I think convincing ourselves that we're going to win stay 10, 15, 20 games unbeaten right now, I think we're onto a fool's errand, man. I just don't think it's true, unfortunately. Like, I think we can pretend we could have gone 15 games unbeaten to 20 games unbeaten. But are we that good? Is actually the first loss in 10 games, as you just pointed out, actually pretty good? If someone said you'd have 1 loss in 10, it'd be away at Villa. I think we'd all would have taken that after the Spurs and Brighton game. And you don't have to, essentially, we're getting used to not being great, And this is how I feel. Super chat from, where's he gone? Thank you so much, Sayak. 1 second, mate. Let me get on screen so he's visible. It's hard, this, isn't it? Because just trying to, I'm a bigger picture guy. I always have been, I could tell you where the players are and all that kind of stuff, but I've never been I'm not an intense tactical analyst, but I can tell you, I can promise you I can see the bigger picture 9 times out of 10. I just got a DM, by the way. Thanks, Jacek. You're a effing clown, deluded, arrogant clown. Oh, okay, mate. Thanks, pal. That, by the way, that's on my personal Instagram because City lost. What is wrong with people, man? I can't even begin to Yeah, wow. Anyway, Sarek said, I heard someone say last season Haaland was fighting with defenders half of the time, found a little space, but this season something changed. He's finding more space without gaining so much. He is. I don't think Haaland was the issue today, mate. I think Haaland, he did score, but rolled out. His other chance wasn't a sitter, to be fair. Yeah. It is what it is. Yeah, that guy, by the way, is like who called me all this. At least Jacek, mate, if you're watching, I don't have mental health issues. So it could be worse, pal. You're the guy who sets up a billion profiles, aren't you? And just goes around. That guy, I mean genuine mental health issues. You're randomly abusing people on the internet. Thanks, Sayek, for the super chat. Thank you, Nick. I am a love you too, Muff. Don't worry. The one thing, by the way, about suddenly having a family is you care less about trolls on the internet. I just couldn't give a fuck, man. Seriously, water off a duck's back. I just could not care less. I have a family. It's the bit like, do you like the Homer and Millhouse's dad? What's he called? I forgot what Millhouse's dad. Where he's like, I can't remember. He there goes like, I sleep in a race car. Do you? And he goes home and goes, I sleep in a bed with my wife. That kind of mean thing. I always feel that way. I'm like you're abusing people like on the internet, and I'm like, I just I live with my beautiful family. We all love him. It's Kirk. That's it. Yeah. Anyway, that's a long-winded thing. Anyway, back to the actual video. Kirk. How did I forget? I'm sorry, Kirk. Can I borrow a feeling? But yeah, this game, it's like, am I wrong with any of this, by the way? Like, does anyone think we are definitely 100% with this collection of players in terms of fitness and form? Does anyone think we are definitely 100% better than Villa away from home? Like, I mean that in a nice, I don't mean that in a criticism way. I mean it as a factual way. I'm trying to be matter of fact here. I really, truly am. Like, are we definitely better than Villa? Like, are we absolutely definitely better than Villa right now with everything? Bear in mind, Villa are a really good side. I know they started the season slowly, but they're like, this is where I'm at. Like, I just think, and look, I actually agree. Nico in the chat, I do think we should have probably bought a winger. I actually quite liked the idea of Rodrigo coming, but everyone told me he was shit. Because the internet always has opinions. I was like, Rodrigo, and everyone was like, no, he's only scored 6 league goals. But I was like, he scored 15 goals in competition. But no, it's not enough. And Rodrigo was obviously better than anything we had. I did actually, Rodrigo clearly is obviously better than anything we had. Clearly. But, once again, I'll be honest, I'll hold my hands up. I was fine with if Savio stayed, or whatever. But I also was like, but Rodrigo coming is awesome. Anyway. Villa deserved to win because they scored. They scored and we didn't, so I guess they deserved to win. Like, they don't deserve, I think it was fair. Yeah, it wasn't unfair that they won. Do you think we beat Liverpool? Maybe. I think Liverpool are a bit of more of a mess. And I think this is also, I would implore people to go back and say, look at where we come from and how we are getting better. And it is a transitional thing. Guardiola is trying to find the best. And I don't think his ideas were bad today. I still think I understood the logic behind him. But in hindsight, they just didn't work, So... we can't beat everyone. I think we can beat everyone on our day, but I think it's more. But I think we are capable of beating everyone on our day. But am I dead confident they'll beat anyone on our day? No, because any team that can reach the Champions League can beat anyone on the day. Of course they can. That's the point. We are a top 4 side in this country. I think we might even be the second best side in this country. I think we might be. I'm truly not just saying that for the sake of it. I think we are probably, but we're just not as good as we used to be. And I think that's it, There's a lot of moments today where I saw people make just poor decision making. Like, I swear I'm not just trying to pull doing it. Oh. I can't. I hate it. Do you know what I hate about doing this stuff? I love doing these videos, but I hate the billion caveats you have to add. I'm not just trying to isolate Nunes, I promise you. But it's just the one thing that springs to mind. Like, later, 93rd minute, he cut us inside on his weak foot. We've got 5 people in the area. He fucking hoofs it with his left foot. Why, mate? Have you ever scored from there ever with your left foot? Like, why? It was just so annoying. Like, it's just like... I understand. It can happen to anyone. Anyone can do it. Just, what are we doing? It's stuff like that. I thought that corner should have been a foul on Nunes too, to be fair. Yeah, it's just where we are. It's just where we are right now. I mean, your anger mileage may vary. If you think we're better than we are today, then sure. I don't know if we are. I think this is it. I think we could have won today, but I'm not surprised you lost, because I think they are a good side, and I think we're a good side, and I think good sides can beat each other, and I think Villa had the answers, and we didn't. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you tomorrow for 5 things to learn. For now, I'm gonna go and just don't know what I'm gonna do. Bye bye.